Jake Morrison was flying his F-16 fighter jet over Lake Michigan when the sky changed color. The blue morning sky turned purple, then green, then something he had never seen before. He grabbed his radio. "Control tower, this is Morrison. Do you see what I'm seeing?" "Morrison, we see it too." "What the hell is that thing?" Jake looked up through his cockpit window. A massive ship hung in the air above Chicago. It was bigger than any building he had ever seen. The ship was black and silver, with strange lights running along its sides. It made no sound. "Control, I'm getting closer to take a look." "Negative, Morrison, stay back, we don't know what that is." But Jake was already turning toward the city. As he flew closer, he saw more ships. Dozens of them. They were all the same size, all hanging perfectly still in the air above different parts of Chicago. Dr. Lisa Burke was in her lab at Northwestern University when the lights went out. She was studying rock samples from Mars when everything went dark. Then the emergency lights came on. Her computer screen showed a message: "Emergency alert. Seek shelter immediately." Lisa ran to the window. What she saw made her legs feel weak. Giant ships filled the sky above the city. But that wasn't the worst part. The worst part was the beams of light. Bright white beams shot down from each ship. Wherever the light touched, things started to disappear. Buildings melted away like ice in hot water. Cars vanished. Streets turned to dust and blew away in the wind. "Oh my God," Lisa whispered. She grabbed her phone to call 911, but the phone was dead. All the phones were dead. Amy Collins was driving to work when her car suddenly stopped. The engine died, the radio went quiet, and even her phone turned off. She got out of her car and saw that every car on the highway had stopped. People were getting out of their cars, pointing at the sky. Amy looked up and screamed. Huge ships hung in the air like storm clouds. Beams of white light were shooting down into the city. But the light wasn't destroying things. It was taking them. Amy watched as entire city blocks got sucked up into the ships like dust into a vacuum cleaner. "Run!" someone yelled. "Everyone run!" Amy started running. Behind her, she could hear the sound of the light beams getting closer. It sounded like a giant machine humming. She ran faster than she had ever run in her life. General Paul Richmond was in his office at the Pentagon when the first reports came in. His assistant burst through the door without knocking. "General, you need to see this right now." Richmond followed him to the main control room. The big screens showed satellite images of Chicago. What he saw made his blood turn cold. The third largest city in America was disappearing before his eyes. "How long has this been happening?" Richmond asked. 12 minutes, sir." "What about our fighters? What about the Air Force Base?" "Sir, we've lost contact with everyone in the Chicago area. Our jets won't start. Our communications are dead." "Whatever those ships are doing, they're stopping all our technology." Richmond watched the screens. The ships were working in a pattern. They would hover over an area, shoot their beams down, and suck everything up. Buildings, cars, people, everything went into the ships. "How many people live in Chicago?" Richmond asked. "Almost 3 million, sir." Jake Morrison's jet suddenly started having problems. His engine began to sputter. His instruments went crazy. He was only 2 miles from the nearest alien ship when his jet started falling. "Mayday, mayday!" he yelled into his radio. But the radio was dead. Jake looked for a place to crash land. Below him, he could see the edge of the destruction. The alien beams had created a perfect circle of emptiness where the city used to be. Everything inside the circle was gone. Everything outside the circle was normal. He aimed for a field outside the destruction zone and ejected from his jet. His parachute opened and he drifted down, watching the alien ships work. They moved slowly and carefully, like farmers harvesting crops. When Jake landed, he could see people running away from the city. Cars that still worked were packed with families trying to escape, but most of the cars wouldn't start. Amy Collins had been running for an hour when she finally stopped. She was far enough from the city to be safe, but she could still see the ships. Other people were with her now. Hundreds of people who had escaped. "What do they want?" a woman next to her asked. "I don't know," Amy said. "But they're taking everything. The buildings, the cars, the people, everything." An old man was crying. My wife was in there, my grandchildren were in there. Amy put her hand on his shoulder. She didn't know what to say. Dr. Lisa Burke had managed to get to her car before the beams reached her lab. Her car was old enough that it still worked when all the newer cars died. She drove away from the city as fast as she could. When she was safe, she stopped and looked back. The ships were finishing their work. The beams stopped. One by one, the ships started rising higher into the sky. Lisa was a scientist. She studied space and planets and alien life, but she had never imagined anything like this. The ships were clearly from another world, and they had just stolen an entire city. As the ships rose higher, they began to disappear. Not like they were destroyed, but like they were fading away. Within minutes, they were gone completely. Where Chicago used to be, there was now just a big, empty circle of bare ground. No buildings, no streets, no people, just dirt and rock like the city had never existed at all. Jake Morrison landed near a group of survivors. A news reporter was trying to use a satellite phone. "This is incredible," the reporter was saying. "Chicago is gone. The entire city has been taken by unknown ships. We estimate nearly 3 million people are missing." Jake walked over to the reporter. "Did you get through to anyone?" "Yes, I got through to our main office. This is being broadcast around the world. Everyone knows what happened here." Jake looked at the empty space where Chicago used to be. "What do you think they wanted?" "I don't know," the reporter said. "But I don't think they're done." General Richmond was on the phone with the president. "Mr. President, Chicago is gone. Completely gone. We estimate 2.8 million American citizens have been taken." "Taken where?" the president asked. "We don't know, sir. The ships disappeared. Our satellites lost track of them." "What do we know about these ships?" "Very little, sir. They seem to have technology that can shut down our electronics. Our weapons didn't work. Our jets couldn't get close. They took what they wanted and left." The president was quiet for a long moment. "Paul, I want every scientist, every military expert, every person we have working on this. We need to figure out who did this and how to stop them if they come back." "Yes, sir." "And Paul?" "Sir? They just made a very big mistake. They attacked America. They attacked our people. We're going to find them, and we're going to make them pay." Dr. Lisa Burke was driving toward Washington, D.C. when her phone finally started working again. She called her old professor at NASA. "Professor Chen, it's Lisa Burke. Are you seeing the news about Chicago?" "Lisa, thank God you're alive." "Yes, we're seeing everything. Where are you?" "I'm driving to Washington. I was there when it happened. I saw the ships. I saw the technology. I think I can help figure out what they were." "Good. Come straight to NASA headquarters. We're putting together a team to study everything we can find." Lisa pressed harder on the gas pedal. She was a scientist, and she had just witnessed the most important scientific event in human history. Aliens were real, and they had just attacked Earth. But they had made one mistake. They had left some humans alive. And humans, Lisa knew, were very good at learning from their mistakes. Behind her, the empty space where Chicago used to be was already being surrounded by military vehicles. Soldiers and scientists were moving in to study what was left. The aliens had won this battle. But the war was just beginning. 3 months after Chicago disappeared, the world had changed completely. Jake Morrison stood in the biggest airplane hangar he had ever seen. It was filled with pieces of alien technology that had been found in the empty space where Chicago used to be. Jake was no longer just a pilot. He was now Colonel Morrison, and he was in charge of training pilots from every country in the world. The hangar was full of men and women from America, Russia, China, England, and dozens of other nations. They were all learning to fly captured alien fighter ships. "The alien controls are different from our planes," Jake told the group of pilots. "But Dr. Burke's team has figured out how they work. The good news is that these ships are faster and stronger than anything we've ever built." A Russian pilot raised her hand. "Colonel Morrison, how do we know these ships will work for us?" Jake smiled. "Because we've been testing them for 2 months. It turns out that human brains can connect with alien technology in ways the aliens never expected." Dr. Lisa Burke was working 18 hours a day in her new lab, It was the biggest research lab in the world, built in just 2 months with money from every major government. She had 500 of the smartest scientists from around the planet working with her. The alien technology is incredible, Lisa told her team during their morning meeting. Their ships can travel faster than light. Their weapons can destroy entire cities. But we've found something interesting. She pointed to a screen showing alien computer code. Their technology is designed to work with their alien minds, but human minds are different. We think in ways they don't understand, and that gives us an advantage. A Japanese scientist raised his hand. Dr. Burke, what kind of advantage? We can use their own technology against them, Lisa said. We can hack into their systems and turn their weapons into our weapons. General Paul Richmond was in a meeting with military leaders from around the world. The meeting was being held in a new building in Colorado that had been built in record time. Every country had sent their best generals and admirals. Ladies and gentlemen, Richmond said, we are no longer just American forces or Chinese forces or Russian forces. We are Earth forces. We are human forces. And we have one job: to find the aliens who attacked Chicago and make sure they never attack Earth again. A British general spoke up. General Richmond, our intelligence suggests the aliens have attacked other planets too. This isn't just about Earth. You're right, Richmond said. We've been monitoring radio signals from other star systems. We think the aliens are attacking planets across the galaxy. But they made one mistake when they attacked us. What mistake? Asked a German admiral. They left us alive, Richmond said. And humans are very good at fighting back. Amy Collins had become famous around the world. She had survived the Chicago attack, and now she traveled to every major city, on Earth speaking to crowds of people. Her message was always the same. Remember Chicago. Remember the people we lost, and get ready to fight back. Today she was speaking to a crowd of 10,000 people in New York City. The crowd was bigger than usual because people were scared. There were reports that alien ships had been seen near other planets. 3 months ago, I watched my city disappear, Amy told the crowd. I watched 3 million people get taken by aliens who think humans are just animals to be harvested, but they were wrong about us. The crowd cheered. Humans don't give up. Humans don't surrender. When someone attacks us, we fight back, and we keep fighting until we win. The crowd cheered louder. Right now, the smartest people on Earth are building new weapons. The bravest people on Earth are training to fly alien spaceships. And all of us are getting ready for the day when we find these aliens and show them what happens when you attack the human race. In space, far from Earth, something was watching. The aliens who had attacked Chicago had left behind small spy devices to monitor the planet. The devices were supposed to watch for signs that humans were building weapons or preparing to fight back. But the alien devices were not working properly. Human technology was interfering with them. The aliens were getting incomplete information about what humans were doing. The alien commander who had destroyed Chicago was named Vextar. He was on a ship near a planet called Tau Ceti, preparing to harvest another world. He received a report from the spy devices watching Earth. Commander, his science officer said, the devices on the human world are reporting unusual activity. What kind of activity? Vexatar asked. They appear to be building new structures. Our devices detect increased energy usage and metal production. Vexatar made a sound that was like laughter. They are probably building shelters to hide from. A typical behavior for a primitive species after being harvested. Continue monitoring, but do not worry. Humans are no threat to the Empire. Back on Earth, Jake Morrison was testing a new hybrid fighter ship. It was built using both human and alien technology. The ship was faster than any human plane ever built, but it could also be controlled by a human pilot. How does it feel? Dr. Burke asked over the radio. Amazing, Jake said as he flew the ship through the clouds. It responds to my thoughts almost before I think them. It's like the ship knows what I want to do. That's because it does, Burke said. We've figured out how to connect human neural patterns with alien control systems. The ship is reading your brain signals and responding to them. Jake pushed the ship faster. In seconds, he was flying at 3 times the speed of sound, but the ship was completely quiet and smooth. Burke, how many of these ships can we build? We have enough alien material to build about 200 ships, but we're also learning to make our own versions using human materials. In 6 months, we should have over 1,000 ships ready. And pilots to fly them? We're training 5,000 pilots from every country on Earth. The best of the best. Dr. Burke was also working on weapons. She had discovered that alien energy. Weapons could be modified to work with human technology. But more importantly, she had learned something about alien biology. Their weakness, she told General Richmond during their weekly meeting, is that they think in very predictable ways. They've been the strongest species in the galaxy for so long that they've forgotten how to adapt to new threats. What does that mean for us? Richmond asked. It means that if we can surprise them, if we can do things they don't expect, we can beat them. Their technology is better than ours, but our minds work differently than theirs. Burke showed Richmond a computer simulation. Look at this, we've studied the attack on Chicago. The aliens use the same pattern for every part of the city. Same approach, same speed, same methods. They never varied their tactics. So they're predictable, very predictable, and that's how we're going to beat them. Amy Collins was in Washington, D.C., meeting with world leaders. Every president, every prime minister, every leader of every major nation was there. It was the biggest meeting of world leaders in history. The question, Amy told them, is not whether we can find the aliens. Our telescopes are already tracking their ships. The question is whether we're ready to fight them. The President of the United States spoke first. Colonel Collins, what do our military experts say? They say we'll have our first battle-ready fleet in 5 months, 200 ships with the best pilots in the world. The Prime Minister of England asked, and what are our chances of winning? Amy looked around, the room at all the world leaders. 6 months ago, none of us had ever seen alien technology. Now we're building starships and training space pilots. 6 months ago, our countries were competitors. Now we're all working together as one human species. She paused. I think our chances are very good, but only if we all stay united. The Chinese premier stood up. China pledges all of our resources to this effort. The Russian president nodded. Russia agrees. Whatever it takes. One by one, every leader in the room made the same promise. The entire planet was now working together for the first time in human history. Meanwhile, long-range telescopes on Earth had spotted something troubling. Alien ships were gathering near Tau Ceti, a star system only 12 light-years away. Intelligence. Experts believe the aliens were planning to attack the planets there. We can't let them destroy another world, General Richmond told his staff. If we're going to fight them, it has to be soon, Dr. Burke agreed. Our ships will be ready in 4 months. Our pilots are training every day, and we have something the aliens don't expect. What's that? Richmond asked. We have rage, Burke said. Every human on this planet is angry about Chicago. That anger is going to fuel everything we do. The aliens think they harvested just another planet. They don't understand that they've awakened the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Jake. Morrison was in his quarters looking at pictures from Chicago before the attack. He had friends who lived there, people he would never see again. But their deaths would not be meaningless. Tomorrow he would lead another training mission. In 4 months he would lead human ships into space for the first time. And someday soon, he would find the aliens who had destroyed Chicago. When that day came, Jake Morrison and the human race would be ready. 8 months after Chicago was destroyed, Admiral Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the UES Retribution, Earth's first space warship. Through the view screen, he could see the Tau Ceti star system. Somewhere in that system, the aliens were attacking another planet. Admiral, his communications officer said, we're receiving distress signals from Tau Ceti III. Jake clenched his fists. Are we too late? Commander Lisa Burke looked at her instruments. She was now head of the Technology Warfare Division. The alien harvesting ships arrived 6 hours ago, but they're moving slowly just like they did in Chicago. We still have time. Behind the Retribution, 50 other Earth ships were spread out in battle formation. Each ship was built with hybrid human-alien technology. Each ship was crewed by the best people from every nation on Earth. All ships, Jake said into his radio, This is Admiral Morrison. Today we fight for Chicago. Today we fight for Earth. Today we fight for every innocent life the aliens have taken. The response came back from 50 ship captains. For Earth. Colonel Amy Collins was on the UES Chicago, a fast attack ship named after their lost city. She was in charge of the Marine boarding teams. If they could capture alien ships, they would learn even more about alien technology. Marines, Amy said to her soldiers, remember your training. Alien ships have different air, different gravity, different everything, but they bleed just like anything else. Her Marines were from every army on Earth. American soldiers fought next to Chinese soldiers. Russian soldiers trained with Indian soldiers. They were no longer fighting for their countries. They were fighting for their species. Chief Engineer Matt Rodriguez was in the engine room of the Retribution. He was watching the new fusion engines that Dr. Burke's team had designed. The engines used both human engineering and alien technology. Admiral, Matt said over the radio, all engines are running perfectly. We can go faster than any alien ship in their fleet. Good, Jake replied. Because we're going to need every advantage we can get. On Tau Ceti III, the aliens were harvesting another peaceful world. The planet was home to a species that looked like giant butterflies. They had built beautiful crystal cities, but they had no weapons. They had no way to fight back. The alien commander Vextar was the same one who had destroyed Chicago. He watched as his harvesting ships sucked up the butterfly cities. Commander, his science officer said, our long-range sensors are detecting ships approaching our position. What kind of ships? Vextar asked. Unknown design. They appear to be using both familiar and unfamiliar technology. Vextar was not worried. In 1,000 years of harvesting, no species had ever been able to fight back against the Kethmori Empire. Ignore them, he said. Continue the harvesting operation. The human fleet approached Tau Ceti III at maximum speed. They were still 3 hours away when they could see the alien ships through their telescopes. My God, Commander Burke said, looking at the alien fleet. There are over 100 ships. How many people live on that planet? Jake asked. Our best guess is about 50 million, Burke replied. Jake thought about Chicago. 3 million people, taken in just a few hours. He would not let it happen again. All ships prepare for battle. We're going in fast and hard. Don't give them time to think. The human ships spread out as they approached the planet. Half the fleet would attack the harvesting ships directly. The other half would try to capture alien technology and rescue survivors. Admiral Morrison's ship was the first to enter combat range. The aliens were so focused on their harvesting that they didn't notice the human ships until it was too late. Fire, Jake ordered. The Retribution's new weapons lit up space with bright energy beams. The beams hit an alien harvesting ship and cut it in half. The alien ship exploded in a ball of fire. Direct hit, Commander Burke shouted. Their shields didn't stop our weapons. All around the planet, human ships opened fire on alien vessels. The aliens were completely surprised. They had never seen ships like the human ones. They had never faced weapons like the ones Dr. Burke had designed. Commander Vextar watched in shock as 3 of his harvesting ships were destroyed in the first minute of battle. What species is attacking us? He demanded. Unknown, Commander. The ship designs are not in our database. Launch all fighters. Destroy these ships immediately. Alien fighter ships poured out of the larger vessels like angry insects, but they were met by human pilots flying captured alien fighters with human modifications. Jake Morrison led the first squadron of fighters himself. He flew his hybrid ship, straight at an alien fighter 3 times its size. Come on, Jake said to himself. Let's see what humans can do. The alien pilot tried to lock weapons onto Jake's ship, but Jake was moving in patterns the alien had never seen. He spun his ship, dove under the alien fighter, and fired his weapons at point-blank range. The alien ship exploded. This is Morrison, to all pilots, Jake said over the radio. They can't adapt to our flying style. We can outmaneuver them. Keep moving, keep changing direction. Human pilots began destroying alien fighters faster than anyone had thought possible. The aliens flew in straight lines and predictable patterns. The humans flew like chaos, like madness, like nothing the aliens had ever fought. Colonel Amy Collins led her Marines to board a damaged alien ship. Her team used small ships to land on the alien vessel's hull. Then they used alien cutting tools to break through the metal. Inside the alien ship, the air was thick and green. The gravity was twice as strong as Earth's. But Amy's Marines had trained for this. "Move, move, move," Amy shouted as her soldiers ran through alien corridors. The aliens inside their own ship were not ready for close combat. They were used to fighting with technology and energy weapons from long distances. They had never faced human soldiers with assault rifles and explosives. Amy's team fought their way to the alien bridge. When they broke through the doors, they found 3 aliens trying to destroy their computers. "Stop them," Amy ordered. Her soldiers fired warning shots. The aliens froze. For the first time in their history, the mighty Kathmori Empire had been boarded and captured by another species. Commander Burke was on the main human ship, using alien technology to hack into alien computer systems. "Admiral," she said to Jake, "I'm getting into their communications. I can hear what they're saying to each other." "What are they saying?" "They're panicking. They keep asking each other what species we are. They've never seen anything like our attack patterns." Jake smiled grimly. "Good. Keep listening. Maybe we can learn something useful." The battle around Tau Ceti III lasted for 4 hours. When it was over, the entire alien harvesting fleet had been destroyed or captured. Not a single human ship was lost, though many were damaged. But the most important victory was not military. The most important victory was that they had saved most of the butterfly people. The aliens had only managed to harvest about 1 million of them before the human fleet arrived. Admiral Morrison stood on his bridge, looking down at Tau Ceti III. The planet was damaged, but it was still alive. Cities could be rebuilt. People could recover. "Commander Burke," Jake said, "what did we learn from the captured alien ships?" "We learned a lot," Burke replied. "Their navigation computers have star charts for their entire empire. We know where their worlds are. We know where their fleets are stationed. And, Admiral, their empire is huge. They control thousands of planets. They have millions of ships." Jake was quiet for a moment. "But," Burke smiled, "but they're all exactly like the ships we just fought. They all use the same tactics. They all think the same way. And now we know how to beat them." Colonel Collins brought the captured aliens to meet Admiral Morrison. The aliens were tall and thin, with gray skin and large black eyes. They looked exactly like the classic image of aliens from human movies. "Ask them why they attacked Earth," Jake told the translator. The alien commander spoke in a series of clicks and whistles. The computer translated, "Earth was selected for biological harvesting because humans appeared to be a primitive species with useful genetic material. Ask them how many other species they've harvested." More clicks and whistles. The translation, "The Kathmori Empire has harvested 847 species over the past 1,000 years. Jake felt his anger rising. 847 species. Billions of innocent lives. Ask them if they thought we would fight back. The alien made a sound that might have been laughter. The translation, "No species has ever been able to resist the Kathmori Empire. Resistance is impossible." Jake looked at the alien commander. "Tell him he's wrong. Tell him that humans are going to destroy his empire. Tell him that every species they've enslaved is going to be free." When the alien heard the translation, his large eyes grew even larger. Chief Engineer Rodriguez was studying the captured alien ships. "Admiral," he reported, "these ships are incredibly advanced, but they have weaknesses." "What kind of weaknesses?" "They're designed to work only against species that fight in predictable ways. Their shields are useless against weapons that change frequency rapidly. Their targeting systems can't track ships that move in random patterns. So our chaotic fighting style is actually an advantage?" "More than an advantage, sir. It's like they built their entire military to fight the opposite of humans." Dr. Burke was in her laboratory, studying alien technology and biology. "Admiral," she called Jake on the ratty. 18 months after Chicago disappeared, Admiral Jake Morrison commanded a fleet of 300 human warships. They were hunting aliens across the galaxy, and they were winning every battle. The bridge of the UES Retribution had been rebuilt, with captured alien technology. Jake could now see star maps showing the entire Kethmori Empire. Red dots showed alien military bases. Blue dots showed planets they had enslaved. There were thousands of dots. "Admiral," Commander Lisa Burke said, "our scouts have found another harvesting operation. The aliens are attacking a planet in the Wolf system." Jake studied the star map. "How many alien ships?" 200 harvesting vessels plus their escort fleet." "And how many people live on that planet?" "Our sensors show about 30 million inhabitants." Jake thought for a moment. 6 months ago, fighting 200 alien ships would have been impossible. Now it was just another day's work. "All ships prepare for jump to the Wolf system," Jake ordered. The human fleet had grown beyond anything the aliens could imagine. Earth's shipyards were producing 10 new warships every week. Pilots from every nation trained and captured alien fighters. Most importantly, humans had started freeing other enslaved species, and many of them joined the fight against the Kethmori. Empire Colonel Amy Collins now commanded an entire division of Marines from 12 different species. Some looked like giant cats, others looked like walking trees. Some were pure energy beings that could pass through solid walls. "Marines," Amy announced to her diverse soldiers, "today we free another world from alien slavery. Remember, we're not just fighting for Earth anymore. We're fighting for freedom itself." Her second in command was a cat-like being named Zara, whose planet had been attacked 50 years ago. "Colonel Collins," Zara said in perfect English, "my people are ready to fight. We have waited decades for this chance." Chief Engineer Matt Rodriguez had been promoted to Admiral of Engineering. He now oversaw the construction and modification of the entire human fleet. His ships were no longer just human technology mixed with alien technology. They were something completely new. "Admiral Morrison," Matt reported, "our new ships are ready for combat testing. They're faster than anything the aliens have, and their weapons are specifically designed to counter Kethmori defenses." "What makes them so special?" Jake asked. "Human. Creativity," Matt replied with a smile. "Every ship is different. Every weapon system is unique. The aliens won't be able to predict what we'll do because even we don't know what we'll do until we do it." The human fleet dropped out of hyperspace, near the Wolf system. Below them, alien harvesting ships were destroying beautiful crystal cities on a planet covered in purple oceans. But this time, the aliens were ready for them. "Admiral," Burke said, studying her sensors, "they have twice as many warships as usual, and they're in defensive positions." Jake looked at the tactical display. The aliens had learned something from their previous defeats. They were no longer harvesting in the open. They had arranged their ships in protective formations. "They're adapting," Jake said. "Not fast enough," Burke replied. She had become an expert at alien psychology. "Look at their formation. It's the same defensive pattern they use everywhere. They're still thinking like a computer instead of like living beings." Admiral Morrison opened communications to his entire fleet. "All ships, this is Morrison. The aliens think they've figured us out. They think they can predict what humans will do. Let's show them how wrong they are." The human attack began unlike any battle the galaxy had ever seen. Instead of attacking in formation, the human ships scattered in all directions. Some ships attacked from above, others attacked from below. Some ships flew straight at the alien fleet, then suddenly changed direction. Jake Morrison led a squadron of fighters in a completely insane maneuver. He flew his ship directly into the middle of the alien formation, then shut off his engines and drifted silently past 3 alien battleships before they realized he was there. "This is Morrison," he said over the radio as he fired at point-blank range. "Sometimes the best strategy is no strategy at all." The alien ships tried to respond, but they couldn't target enemies that were moving randomly in all directions. Their computers kept trying to calculate human attack patterns, but there were no patterns to calculate. Commander Burke was using psychological warfare. She had learned to speak the alien language, and she was broadcasting messages that confused and frightened the alien crews. "Attention, Kethmori ships," Burke said in perfect alien speech. "You are fighting humans now. We are the species that survived your attack on Chicago. We are the species that turned your own weapons against you. Surrender now, or we will destroy We destroyed your fleet at Tau Ceti." Some of the alien ships actually stopped fighting when they heard Burke's message. The word human had become a source of terror throughout the Kethmori Empire. Colonel Collins led her multi-species Marines to board alien ships again. But this time was different. This time, they were joined by warriors from the planet below, the Eye. Beings on this planet looked like dolphins with arms and legs. They could breathe in space without suits, and they could swim through the air as if it was water. "Colonel Collins," the dolphin commander said, "we have been slaves to the Kethmori for 20 years. Today we fight beside you for freedom." Amy watched as dolphin warriors swam through space toward alien ships. Her human Marines followed in small assault craft. Together, they boarded 6 alien vessels in the first hour of battle. Inside the alien ships, something unexpected happened. The enslaved workers rose up against their captors. Beings from dozens of different species grabbed alien weapons and started fighting their former masters. "Admiral," Amy reported to Jake, "we're not just winning this battle, we're starting a revolution." Admiral Rodriguez was testing new weapons that had never been used before. His engineering teams had designed weapons that could change their properties. In the middle of combat, Admiral Morrison, Matt said, firing the new adaptive weapons. The weapons started as energy beams, but halfway to their targets, they changed into explosive missiles. When the missiles hit alien shields, they changed again into energy disruptors that passed right through the shields. The alien ships had no defense against weapons that changed faster than their computers could analyze them. Dr. Burke was also doing something the aliens had never encountered. She was hacking into their ship's computers during combat, turning their own systems against them. "I'm taking control of alien ship designation Alpha 7, Burke announced. She turned the alien ship's weapons against its own fleet. But the most devastating human tactic was something no alien species had ever thought possible. Human ships started ramming alien vessels. Captain Tony Martinez flew his damaged ship straight into an alien battleship. At the last second, he and his crew teleported to safety using captured alien technology. But his ship, packed with explosives, destroyed the alien vessel completely. "This is Martinez to all ships," he said after being rescued. "Ramming works. Great if you can teleport out at the last second." Soon, human ships were ramming alien vessels all across the battlefield. The aliens couldn't understand why anyone would sacrifice their own ships to destroy enemy ships. The battle lasted 8 hours. When it was over, the entire alien fleet was destroyed or captured. The dolphin-like beings on the planet below were free for the first time in 20 years. But the real victory was the information they captured. "Admiral," Burke said, "we now have complete navigation data for the entire Kethmori Empire. We know where every military base is. We know where their shipyards are. We know where their home planet is." Jake looked at the star charts. The Kethmori Empire was vast, but it was also fragile. It depended on fear and overwhelming force. When those advantages disappeared, the empire would collapse quickly. "How many enslaved species are there?" Jake asked. Burke checked the alien records. Over 400 species are currently enslaved by the Kethmori. Most of them have been enslaved for decades or centuries. "And how many of them would fight alongside us?" "All of them," Amy Collins said, joining the conversation. "Every enslaved species we've met has asked to join our fight. Admiral, we're not just commanding human ships anymore. We're commanding the combined fleets of dozens of species." Jake looked out at space around the Wolf system. Human ships were now joined by dolphin ships, cat-being ships, tree creature ships, and vessels from 6 other species they had freed in recent battles. "Admiral Morrison," Matt Rodriguez reported, "our intelligence suggests the aliens are recalling ships from across the galaxy to defend their core worlds." "How many ships?" "Several thousand." Burke smiled. "Admiral, they're making the same mistake they've made in every battle. They're concentrating their forces in predictable locations. What do you recommend?" "We bypass their main fleets and attack their infrastructure directly. We hit their shipyards, their supply bases, their communication centers. We make it impossible for them to coordinate their defense." Jake nodded. It was a typically human strategy. Ignore the enemy's strength and attack their weaknesses. Over the next 6 months, human fleets struck at alien targets across the galaxy. They freed enslaved worlds, destroyed military bases, and captured alien technology. Most importantly, they spread the word that the Kethmori Empire was not invincible. Species. 3 years after Chicago disappeared, Fleet Admiral Jake Morrison stood in the command center of Luna Base, humanity's largest military installation built on the moon. Through the massive windows, he could see Earth surrounded by thousands of ships from dozens of different species. "Admiral," Commander Lisa Burke said, "long-range sensors confirm it. The entire Kethmori Empire fleet is heading toward our solar system, every alien warship in the galaxy." Jake studied the tactical display. Red dots representing alien ships filled the screen like a swarm of angry insects. There were over 10,000 enemy vessels. "How many ships do we have in?" Jake asked. 15,000, Burke replied, "but only 3,000 are purely human vessels. The rest belong to the species we've liberated over the past 2 years. General Amy Collins entered the command center. She now commanded the largest ground force in galactic history, soldiers from over 60 different species, all united in their hatred of the Kethmori Empire. "Admiral," Amy said, "our intelligence teams have confirmed the location of the alien. Leadership. Commander Vextar, the one who destroyed Chicago, is commanding their fleet from a massive battleship called the Eternal Dominion." Jake clenched his fists. Vextar. The alien who had murdered 3 million innocent people in Chicago was finally coming to face justice. Admiral Matt Rodriguez had spent 2 years building the defenses around Earth. The planet was now protected by energy shields, orbital weapons platforms, and automated defense systems that could think and adapt like living beings. "Admiral Morrison," Matt reported, "all defensive systems are online. But sir, with respect, I don't think we should fight a defensive battle." "What do you recommend?" Jake asked. "We take the fight to them," Matt said. "We meet their fleet in deep space, far from Earth. We use every advantage we have: speed, unpredictability, and the fact that we're fighting for our homes while they're fighting for conquest." Dr. Burke had been studying alien psychology for 3 years. She understood how the Kethmori mind worked better than anyone. "Admiral," Burke said, "the aliens are making the same mistake they always make. They're bringing their entire fleet in one massive formation. They think overwhelming force will guarantee victory. And that's a mistake? It's a huge mistake." Burke smiled. "They're giving us one chance to destroy their entire empire in a single battle. If we win this fight, the Kethmori will have no ships left. Their empire will collapse completely." The alien fleet arrived at the edge of the solar system exactly when human intelligence had predicted. Commander Vextar stood on the bridge of his flagship, looking at the sensor readings of the human defensive force. "Impossible," Vextar said. "Our sensors show 15,000 enemy ships. How did the humans build so many vessels in such a short time?" His science officer was studying the readings. "Commander, many of these ships are not human design. It appears that multiple species are fighting alongside the humans." Vextar was confused. In 1,000 years of conquest, the Kethmori had never faced a coalition of different species. Every race they had encountered fought alone. "It does not matter," Vextar decided. "We have superior technology and superior numbers. Begin the attack." But as the alien fleet moved toward Earth, something unexpected happened. The Human Alliance fleet didn't wait for them to arrive. Instead, Admiral Morrison led his ships straight toward the alien formation. "All ships," Jake announced over the radio. "This is Fleet Admiral Morrison. 3 years ago, these aliens came to our world and murdered our people. They thought we were weak. They thought we would surrender. Today, we show them what happens when you attack the human race." The response came from 15,000 ship captains of 60 different species. "For Earth, for freedom, for all enslaved peoples everywhere." The two fleets met in space between Mars and Jupiter. It was the largest space battle in galactic history. Admiral Morrison led the first attack personally. He flew a new type of fighter ship that could change its size and shape during combat. As alien weapons targeted him, his ship split into 3 smaller ships, each flying in a different direction. "This is Morrison to all pilots," Jake said as he destroyed 2 alien fighters. "Remember your training. Be unpredictable, Be chaos. Be everything they don't understand. Human ships scattered across the battlefield like leaves in a windstorm. Some attacked in groups. Others attacked alone. Some ships flew in straight lines. Others spun in circles. There was no pattern, no formation, no strategy that the alien computers could analyze. Commander Burke was leading the Electronic Warfare Division. She had learned to hack into alien systems faster than their computers could defend against her. "I'm taking control of Alien Battle Group 7, Burke announced. She turned 50 alien warships against their own fleet. But Burke's greatest weapon was psychological. She was broadcasting human music, human poetry, and human battle cries on all alien communication frequencies. "Attention, Kethmori Empire," Burke said in the alien language. "You are hearing the sound of human rage. You destroyed our city. You murdered our people. Today you face the consequences of awakening humanity." Some alien ships actually stopped fighting when they heard Burke's broadcasts. The word human had become synonymous with terror throughout the galaxy. General Collins was leading boarding operations against the largest alien ships. Her multi-species Marines were teleporting directly onto enemy vessels using captured alien technology. "Marines," Amy said as her team materialized on an alien battleship. "Remember Chicago. Remember every enslaved world we've liberated. Fight for everyone who can't fight for themselves." Her Marines were no longer just human soldiers. Cat beings with incredible speed fought beside tree creatures with enormous strength. Energy beings passed through walls to attack aliens from behind. Dolphin warriors swam through the air to reach impossible positions. But the most devastating attacks came from the freed slaves aboard alien ships. As soon as human Marines boarded enemy vessels, enslaved workers throughout the alien fleet began to rebel against their captors. Admiral Rodriguez was testing humanity's ultimate weapon, controlled chaos. He had designed ships that could explode and reform, weapons that changed targets randomly, and defensive systems that worked differently every time they were used. Admiral Morrison, Matt said, deploying the chaos field generators. Around the battlefield, special human ships began broadcasting energy fields that interfered with alien computers. The alien fleet, which depended on precise coordination and predictable tactics, began to fall apart as their systems stopped working properly. But the real turning point came when Admiral Morrison led a direct assault on the alien flagship. "All ships," Jake announced, "target the Eternal Dominion. Today we capture the alien who destroyed Chicago." 100 human ships, supported by vessels from 20 different liberated species, attacked the massive alien battleship. The ship was larger than anything humans had ever built, protected by shields and weapons that could destroy entire planets. But the aliens had made one crucial mistake. They had designed their flagship to fight conventional enemies using conventional tactics. They had never prepared for enemies who would ram fighter ships into shield generators, teleport Marines directly onto the bridge, and broadcast chaos, signals that turned their own computers against them. Commander Vextar watched in horror as human ships appeared everywhere at once. His bridge officers were panicking. His computers were malfunctioning. His weapons were firing at his own ships. "This is impossible," Vextar screamed. "We are the Kethmori Empire. We have ruled the galaxy for 1,000 years." Admiral Morrison materialized on the alien bridge with a team of Marines from 6 different species. For the first time in 3 years, Jake Morrison stood face to face with the alien who had destroyed Chicago. "Commander Vextar," Jake said, "you are under arrest for crimes against humanity and crimes against every species you have enslaved." Vextar looked at the human admiral with his large black eyes. "You cannot defeat the Empire. Even if you destroy this fleet, there are other worlds, other ships." Jake smiled grimly. "No, there aren't. While you brought every ship to attack Earth, our fleets attacked every one of your undefended worlds. Your empire is already gone." It was true. While the main alien fleet traveled toward Earth, human task forces had struck at every major alien installation in the galaxy. Shipyards were destroyed. Military bases were captured. Most importantly, enslaved populations on hundreds of worlds had been liberated. The battle around Earth lasted 12 hours. When it was over, The mighty Kethmori Empire had been completely destroyed. Their entire fleet was captured or destroyed. Their leadership was in human custody. Their enslaved worlds were free for the first time in centuries. Admiral Burke was studying the alien records they had captured. "Admiral Morrison," she said, "according to these files, the Kethmori Empire enslaved over 400 different species. They harvested the populations of nearly 1,000 planets." "What about the survivors?" Jake asked. "We're finding survivors on ships throughout their fleet. Many species that we thought were extinct are still alive in alien laboratories and prison camps." General Collins was overseeing the rescue operations. "Admiral," Amy reported, "we're finding human survivors too. People from Chicago who were kept alive for alien experiments." Jake felt his heart